Hey everybody, and welcome to another Learn to Digitize video. My name is Sue and I am from OML Digitizing and OML Embroidery. Today we're going to do something different and it's going to be pretty cool. You have to think outside the box a lot. So a lot of people are kind of stuck as to what to digitize. And I think one of the best things you can do is digitize your own work. You don't have to worry about any copyright rules. You don't have to worry about anything. So what you can do is take your cell phone, and if you don't have a cell phone, I think most people do, and the cell phones actually take really good pictures. But if you don't have a cell phone, take your camera and just go in your backyard or your front yard or go to a park and take some pictures of things that you like. That's all it has to be. Things that you like, a flower, a stone bird feeder or bird bath rather, or a birdhouse or birds or something, start off easy. I made a suggestion that you could take a picture of buildings. Why not digitize your own house for practice? You can add detail or not a lot of detail or a barn, or if you drive out in the countryside, you get the idea. Something with simple lines, not too complicated, something that you can work with. And that is what we're going to do today. So what we're going to do is take this picture of a flower. And in this picture, there's a lot of details. There's background, there's branches, there's color changes, there's color splats, there's lines, there's shadows, there's all sorts of things. And when you look at a picture like this, if you make it really large, you can do all of this detail work very easily. It's just going to take some time. But otherwise, this picture can be a great backdrop for doing the same flower in many different ways. Now, the way we did this, Dawn sees embroidery differently than I do. And when I say embroidery, everything I look at, I see as an embroidery design and how I can create it. And eventually everyone will, may or may not start thinking this way, but it's kind of cool. So when I look at this picture, I saw it basically like this. This is Don's here, and he picked out more of the veining details. But then I thought this could be an applique, and I'm actually going to add one more that we're going to start with. So this one picture of this beautifully detailed flower can go a long way in building what you want to do and different ideas and like I said, applique. This is a color blend in here that Don did and lots of detail, and he did the center part differently. It's all completely different. So that is going to be the theme of today, this beautiful flower and thinking outside the box and what you can do with it. Just because it has a lot of detail doesn't mean you have to do it. So let's get started on it. So let's start with a new file. And we're going to bring in the picture. So we're going to go up here to artwork. And I have it right on my desktop, so I'm just going to open that up. And there we go. Now that picture looks kind of big. You can do all the measurement things, but I have a quick tip that maybe you guys have a better way of doing it. I have no idea. But this is how I do it just quickly, because I'm not interested in how big the whole picture is. I just want to know how big the flower is, because remember, you need to digitize at the size that you want your final design to be. And I'm pretty sure it said 16 by 10. We don't want the flower this big because we're not doing all that detail. So all I did was digitize open shape, and then I'm just going to pull it across, hit enter again, and then go back to my select key. And now we have just a super quick line, and it's 8. So we don't have to worry about the height because we know it's just a line, right? So it's 8.5. So that's a little bit big for what I want. Again, if you click on the picture, it's 16 by 11, and we're not digitizing at that size for this class. So for me, that's just a quick way of doing it, and I just, rather than looking for any tools or doing anything, I just whip it out, then I know exactly what it is. So now I'm going to delete that. Now we want the picture a bit smaller, because we are going to do some detail work on it. So let's try this. Let's zero it out because that's what I like to do. I just always have everything in the center. Drives me crazy otherwise. And let's do that again. Let's see now how big our picture is. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just roundabout, enter, enter, and enter my keyboard, select, there we go, sorry, 5 9, so 6. So this flower is 6 inches across. You could do a little bit smaller, but I think, you know what, instead of playing with it even more, I think that's probably good enough. So now we have our picture situated. Let's bring up our resequence here and let's lock this guy down. Shortcut is K, which I actually use. Everyone will be pretty proud. I use the keyboard shortcut K. And zoom in a little bit. Now let's look at this. There's so many colors, and you can see here it's all blended, and you can see darker. If you were doing this flower huge, you could add all this. But let's just start off simple. What can you do with this guy just simply? It has a wonderful shape. So why don't we go and we're just going to do a simple, no fuss, just for the shape of it. I love it. So digitize closed shape. We're going to click it on a fill, and then we're going to go around and left click, right click around the corners, right click, and you don't need too many of them. I'm off a little bit because the flower is an odd shape. So I guess it depends if you want it to be, you know, really close to what you're seeing, if you want it rounded more. And I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, left click. I'm going to go for round for this one. Just, you know, quickly do it up because we are doing a simple one. And I'm left clicking in the middle. So this isn't going to follow exactly, but that's okay. We don't have to follow it exactly for this one. So I'm right clicking, you know, halfway down, left click for the center. See, it has some wonderful wavy details, and we're gonna get close on that afterwards. And there, and then press enter. And there is a basic flower shape, and it's actually kind of a good shape. It's not perfectly, it's not like you did the circle layout. It's not perfect. It's an original flower shape. Let's go like this. And we'll put a circle in the middle, perfect circle. And I didn't even remotely get it into the middle, but that's okay. Let's change the color to the light purple. Oh, even that looks kind of pretty, doesn't it? And just as a finishing touch, let's go over to Edit Objects. And we are going to do the Create Outlines and Offsets. And let's just put a, what color? Something dark, I guess just black. You could do white too, I guess. Middle one. I'm not doing offsets, although you could, might be kind of cool. But for this one, click OK. Gives us a nice line. I want to make that line, and we want to put that after. And stem stitch maybe. And there you go. Or you could try, where's the one? Right here. Blanket stitch. What a cute little flower we have. So let's do this. And that's just simple. And that is using your picture as a backdrop to make a simple flower. Now with this flower, because it's nice and simple, and I think it's cute, you could actually change the center of it to, you know, some kind of a stitch and cut it out if you wanted to. You can make this one, because it's simple, you can make this one really small. And you could use that on many different things. Zoom in there. That outside stitch doesn't look the greatest, so we can ungroup it. And because it's small, of course, everything changes, right? See, now the back stitch looks way better when it's smaller, but when you make something big and you make it smaller, you have to make changes like that. But how's that for a perfect little simple flower? Now you can save this guy. Let's group them so we don't make a mess of what we're doing. You can save this guy and you could use it for many things. You can make them bigger, smaller, you can add them to things, you could do a lot. So just right there, that flower just made us our simple, beautiful, cute little flower. Nothing fancy, nothing special. He is just how he is. I'm going to move this one back and put the blanket stitch because I just thought it looked good. So let's group them again. I'm doing a lot of grouping, but it's only because I'm going to be putting 4 or 5 flowers out here. 4, I guess. So simply, just super, super simply. And that is the extra one that I didn't add in, but that is going to be a very useful thing. You could even make a stamp out of this guy. You could use it for last week's class. You could make an embossing out of it simply by changing the center part, we have a tatami right here, simply by changing it to a motif stitch or an embossed or something. But you could do a lot of things with it, and that is just from a, really detailed flower. So that's one. Should we number them as one? Then we know what we're doing. Oops, artwork, no. Digitize. Oh, no. Wow, what am I thinking? Lettering monogram. Sometimes it takes me a minute. It's early in the morning. So let's mark him as number one. We'll just leave it as a block. I think I need to make that guy a little bit bigger. Yeah, because he's kind of buried in there. I see him. There he is. Let's move him over here. I'm not worried about color because that's just what we're going to do. So he's number one. Simple flower, change a few details. This guy you can make bigger and smaller and looks good. So that's one. He's going to be out of the view. Now the second one, you can make it a little bit fancier. And I thought the ripple stitch would be perfect for this guy. And remember, with the ripple stitch, you have to make it big enough, but we made this guy, he's almost 6 inches across. So he should be big enough for this. So let's go ahead and digitize a closed shape, and let's play with the ripple stitch. Now this one, left click, right click, right click. I guess we can get a little bit. Actually, no, the ripple stitch, I think we'll just do it the same way. Now, of course, I could copy and paste, but what's the fun in that? We can do it all over again. So this one, I'm not going to get all that close. A little bit better than what I did before. I'm going to add a couple more nodes to get a couple more, differences in the shape. The other one, I was only doing 4 on each petal. So just a little bit different, but still, we're not fussing too much about the details. There we go. And I'm thinking this guy is gonna look good. I just love using the ripple stitch for anything. So I was right clicking and left clicking, and you can see I'm a little bit off, and that's cool. Let's hit enter and go back to our select, and we're gonna select it. It already is. And all you have to do is click on ripple stitch, and look what happens. Wow, I don't even want to change a thing about that. I think that looks great. The center is, pretty good. It gives it some depth. I kind of like it. How about we change it to, it was kind of like a light purpley, right? Let's change it to that. And normally I wouldn't do it, but because you guys need to see what I'm doing, it's kind of hard otherwise. I guess if we take the true view off, that doesn't help a whole lot, does it? No. I guess I could move it out of the way. I don't know. I just find it easier just to hide. I don't usually waste time doing that, but let's just for today. So we've got the flower done. Now, what can we do here? This looks really cool. And I think this flower is also a great opportunity to use your pen and tablet if you have one. Now, I don't happen to have one on this computer, so we are just going to do it another way. Now, there's a couple ways, of course. We're exploring ways. There's a couple of ways of doing this. I did it one way and Don did it another way, and I kind of liked how he did it, but he was using a pen. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of, can you see where the white's going on there? I'm just kind of roughly outlining it because we want it to blend. We're going to make this, because the ripple stitch is a nice light and airy stitch, we can't have full tatami on this because it would be like, wow, okay, there's the center of the flower. It stands out too much. So I'm just kind of roughing it, and it's going to be tatami. You can see the shape that I did. It's nothing spectacular. Let's make it white, first of all. But let me show you this, and you can see what I mean, because these things are all important. If we were doing it like this, it is way too heavy. See, it doesn't look right, not even remotely right. It's way too dark, way too thick, way too heavy. So let's fix that. Let's fix that. There's a couple ways. Go to stitching. We don't need underlay because there's no point having underlay over this light and beautiful stitching, right? We don't need the underlay. But we can go to effects and we can change it. I need the true view on to see what I'm doing. Now that did a little bit. Let's try both sides. Oh, how about we select it? Let's try both sides. I like that even more, but I still think it's a bit too thick. Now it's kind of blurry. You see what the both sides feather effect did? It's kind of blurry, but I kind of think it's a bit too thick. So let's go back into fill, and we're going to go and play with the density. I don't normally recommend that until you know what you're doing, but we know what we're doing. So watch how it changes, and I'm making everything less dense, quite a bit less dense. And that's changing it quite a bit, and that is getting a little bit closer to the look that I want. See, it's just kind of lightening up there. You can almost see the stitches through. Let's see what that we are on true view. You can almost see, but it's not a solid color. And I think that's a nice little bit of blending right there. You could, people are thinking you could use the ripple stitch on this. Maybe, but it's okay. It gives it a little bit more depth. You could do it. And I think that does look okay. It's not quite the effect I was looking for. And this might be a little bit too dense. These are fine. But look, just one click and try. That's not bad. So ripple stitch on the outside, ripple stitch on the inside. And of course, you can change the settings on that, and we can make it a little bit less dense. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of difference, so we'll leave that. So what do you think? Ripple stitch? Yeah, maybe. I guess we can stick with it. So then let's go hide these two. Again, I normally don't do that, but it just makes it easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. So hide selected. So we've got the white, we've got this. Now let's do some of these darker purple parts because it's really pretty. And we are going to use the freehand open shape for this one. Now, if you have a pen and tablet, perfect time to be using it. I don't, so I can still use the freehand open shape quite nicely. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it. We're going to have to move it around. And I'm going to click freehand. I'm going to start, and you have to hold down the mouse key. Do you see how it's developing out there? And it's just where you're writing. So let's do that one again. I'll show you again, show it even better. We can pick, I guess, a better color. Why don't we just do black? It might show up. So I'm holding down the mouse key. Can you see there? Can you see it when I'm doing it? You hold down the mouse key and you move the mouse. When you let go, it's done, and you press enter and you do the next one. But let's get rid of that because that's kind of doodly and it doesn't look like my flower. So I did it twice there. And no matter if you let go, don't even worry about it because I'll show you how to fix it. So straight and here, and then go to the next one, hold down the mouse key, and it doesn't even have to be perfect. I was a little wobbly there, but that adds to the effect. Now I'm only picking out the bigger ones. Oh, it's way off on that one. I think I'll actually do that one again because yuck. Because yuck. Just that one. It's just way off. I bet you it would be okay, but I'm just being picky. Freehand open shape, left click, try to get it on. It does take a little practice whether you're with a tablet or you're using the mouse like I am. It's just a little bit of practice. And go this way and then do another one this way. And here, again, I'm only picking out the bigger ones. That's how I saw it. And you see how you can get nice curves in there? I actually really like it. I actually really like it. And there, and let go, mouse there. And let's put this one here. And then go here. I'm a little off again, but hey, that's okay. Hey, that one I was right on. And this one kind of starts from here. And that one, he's kind of cool. One, and then left click, hold again, left click, hold again, just to make him kind of cool. Left click. So a little bit of practice, and you can see already, even with my mouse that everyone knows I hate upstairs in the studio, it's not the greatest mouse, but I'm not doing too badly with it either. It's even better at the end of the design than I was at the beginning. So it just certainly takes a little bit of practice. I don't think you have to be too particular about it at all because I think it'll give it more of a, hand-drawn natural look. So I kind of like that. Let's hit enter. hit enter. Am I not doing it? Yeah, I'm doing it. There we go. And awesome. Now we've got all of these lines, kind of messy looking, and there's going to be some nasty jump stitches. Kind of looks cool over here. Let's change the color to, what are we going to do? Dark purple for this one. Yeah, I think so. Are we on True View? Yes, we are. Yep, that changed it. Now I'm going to go here and I'm going to select the first one, and I'm shift clicking, holding down the shift, clicking here, and we're going to go to down to the bottom, and we're going to branch these. Now when you click on branch, you kind of sit and wait for it to do something, but the next input is the hatch wants you to tell it where to start and where to finish. So I'm going to click here for start, and I'm going to click the one beside it for finish. And once you do that, it goes zap, and then you get this little design, and it's all branched. And it's really cool how it does it. There's not going to be as many jump stitches. Let's take True View off. You can see how it made connections, and it went up and down, up and down, up and down. So use branching. Just remember that you have to tell it what you want it to do. Now this is a jump stitch coming from the other one, and that is going to happen because we have so many of them up here, what we're doing. So we've branched it, we've changed the color. Branching is brilliant, and that's a perfect application for branching. So let's reveal these guys, unhide all, and we're going to have to move this underneath the white. So I left click, dragged it up, and let's have a look in our True View. See, now isn't that cute already? And this is a nice level of detail, beautiful level of detail. I don't know how much I like this, but we're going to leave it. The only other thing I want to do on this is go to, close this, go to Edit Objects, and I want to do Create Outlines. I just think this guy needs an outline around it, and even a black one. I just think it adds to it a little bit. Now, the other part is, there is one more part, and neither Dawn nor I liked this part, but we're gonna do it anyways, and you guys can see what you think, because you're kind of, this one we're doing a little more detail, but not all. It certainly looks fine just like that. You might want to put a little circle in the center, but let's look what's in the picture. So this middle part looks like this, and it's kind of, because it's at a funny angle, it kind of looks funny, but we can digitize it. Let's see how it looks. Again, Dawn, we didn't like it, but we'll do a couple of options. Now, digitize what you're seeing. So left click, I think I want that, a right click. Do you see what I'm picking out of it? And this is going to be one color. And again, we won't be able to do huge, thick tatami stitches. And I had it on outline because I wasn't paying attention. And it is using my last effect. So it has it on, there we go. And we want to go to stitching, and we want to take off that underlay. I'm not sure yet if we want to change the density. We do want to change the color, and I'm going to make it, off-white, I guess. Okay, so I've changed the color on it. Not sure how much I like that shape. And you know what? I'm just going to move it aside. I think I might have been picking out too much detail. So let's just do that again and make it less detail, because I didn't think it looked right. So left click, right click. And that one needs to be a left click because it looks straight here. And let's not do the dipping details, I guess. And there we go. Now again, remove effect. Although, you know what, maybe that'll be okay with the effect. Let's leave the effect on it and see, because that might be okay. I do definitely want to take off the underlay. And that might be okay. So then let's do the next part. Let's digitize close shape. Let's make it what? Dark purple? That's what it looks like to me. So whatever this center part is. Now I'm just clicking in a lot. I'm just going to include this part because we're not doing huge details. And then I'm going to go back around like this. And we'll just see how it looks. Maybe not, because we're right up close and it's kind of strange part. But let's see. Let's just see. Oh, I like how I did that. That's groovy. So again, we want to take off the underlay because we're doing light and airy stuff. Let's do the effect again. Yeah, that might work. That absolutely might work. Now, it's super hard to tell because we have half of the design turned off. So why don't we go ahead and then right click and unhide all and see how that looks. And you know what? I actually like that. I like the center part better than this part. Do we have the effects on it? We do. But that right there is a second way of seeing the flower. Now you might want to tweak this. I actually really don't like that part, but you guys might be able to do it a little bit better. I guess we'll leave it because that's how I digitized it. Now I'm just going to take this and I am going to group it, and we're going to call this one over to the side or up here even. And we are going to call this number 2 because out of the one picture, we have come up with 2 completely different ways of doing this design. And I think that's just so awesome. So let's, I got to zoom in to pick up my 2 because it was really small because I was really zoomed out. There we go. We should be able to see that. So this is number 2. So we have just a plain simple cutie pie flower, and we have one that's a little more detailed with some ripple stitches in it, and I really think they look good. Zoom in and look, and this is just kind of a shading effect. The ripple stitches are freehand lines. I think on this side I would like a couple more of these side ones coming out to match, but that's okay. You guys can tweak. We're just doing the basics here. We can do, you can, tweak it and make it look better. So let's zoom in and click the wrong way so you can't see anything. There we go. I don't know why I did that. And the third way that I saw it was some applique. Why not? Why not? Doesn't it look like applique? Now for my applique, again, I want this to be really smooth. Now, of course, I could go and copy over the one that I've done, but what's the fun in that? Let's do this one again. And I do want it rounded. Left click in the crevice there. Right click, right click, right click, left, right click, right click, right click, left click, right click, right click, right click, and right click, and now left click. And see how smooth I got them? This one's a little bit off, but it just adds to the character of your applique. And I think that's cool so far. Lovely. Now, you can decide that you could leave this applique guy. Actually, why don't we put a fabric in it? You can see the different fabrics you can pick. And I actually really like doing this because you can really see what you're doing. We could make it, we can just do that one. And we want to make it the light purpley, right? See how that looks? Or you can just pick a color and it's going to cover everything. Or you can add your own custom fabric. Now these ones are just plain. Let's see how it looks. Now how cute is that already? Let's go in and change it again and let's see. I don't know what I have for custom, but let's see what we have going on. Basics. They do. This is what comes with Hatch. You can see where I am. Hatch 1 pictures, fabrics, and basics. So you can even pick something like this. And what do we got? Do we have something flowery? Just always check everything out. What about something like that? How cool is that? So that is how you add the applique fabric and play around with it. And you can even take a picture of the fabric that you have and you can put it in there and you can see exactly what it's going to look like. We do all that with all of our military fabrics and it looks amazing. It looks amazing. How about t-shirt material? Try. Oh, I think that's going to look good. See how cool that is? Now there was one more folder to try, so let's just try that just because we're at it. Bernardix. Oh, look at all this. Let's go to a rose one. Look at all that. I don't know if you guys knew it was all in there, but wow. We could do something like that. Click. Okay. So, yeah, even if you have a fabric similar to that, you can see how that's going to look. And that is brilliant. So I suggest that everyone should play with their fabric. Now, if you're going to do something like this, I would suggest doing your applique in a simple form. Super simple. I don't want to customize the design. I want to digitize. And we're going to do a circle. And this is how I would suggest to do, busy fabric like this. Just, you don't even have to do it that big, but you see how good that looks? Applique is meant to be, generally simple. So let's click on the applique. Let's change the applique fabric to just the factory. I kind of like that. It's just that. And we made it purpley. Let's go back to this. And you see, that's okay too. It's kind of simple. But why don't we add a little bit of detail over it? Because we can do that. So let's hide our applique, because of course you can't see through it, right? And it always makes it easier. And I'm going to remove that, because that's even two ways we could do the applique. Now remember, this is a fabric and I'm thinking a plain fabric. So we want to maybe make it a little bit better. So we're kind of doing the same things, but let's do it in a different way. Let's do the freehand closed shape. And let's zoom right in. And again, I'm just doing this with the mouse. And I'm left clicking and holding. And don't worry about that second part. That's kind of doing it around there. And I'm just kind of going, see where the white glows? And see, it shows you what it's covering. And the line that's kind of dragging over, again, don't let it fool you. It's just showing you that it has to be a closed shape, and when you get there, it's closed. How cool is that? That is what you use the freehand tool for. So what I want to do to that, we can play around with it. Nope, don't like that. There's too many ups and downs. We're going to do a tatami. I think it's too big for satin. It splits it. Looks cool though. Let's make it a bit lighter. Let's take off the underlay because we are putting it over, and this is just kind of like a detail that we're doing. Let's try this. Yes, that's feathering again. Yes, 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 I like that. It does need to be white so I can see what I'm doing. That looks absolutely excellent. And I am going to reduce the density just a little bit because I want some of the purple to show through. That's what I want. So I like it just like that. Awesome. Freehand tool with feathering. Excellent effect. Excellent effect. So let's hide that. Now, for this, you could actually, let's unhide this so you can see how it looks. This is why I don't hide stuff, because I check back all the time. You could see how that looks. Let's zoom out so we can get it. Even that is kind of awesome. Why don't we do this? There's so many possibilities just from this one picture. Now, we have again made, that disappeared, but it's because it is under. Now, again, already, even with just this applique, we've done it. This is the second way that we've done it. And instead of just putting a big old circle in the middle, a little bit more detail and a center in the middle, because I just thought it looked too plain otherwise. Although it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good indeed. Let's just do that. So that's applique number 2. My goodness, you're going to have so many ways to do everything. I guess I should be saving them, shouldn't I? Probably. But anyways, I guess that's what you get for working through on everything. So applique is going to have 4 parts. So far we've got 2, and we'll just put the number underneath. So, okay, that's another way. If you want a little bit more detail, let's hide or move your applique. We're just going to hide it. And let's do some of these cool stitching. Practice again with the freehand open shape. Now again, I am just going to pick out the big ones. And then we're gonna do the same thing. I just want them just to add a little interest, and I'm going to make them, curve around, and you can see already I'm better at this mouse. So just a little practice on it. Let's go like this. Let's go like this, and we'll take them. I'm actually getting pretty close. And this is, well, I kind of moved my mouse wrong on that one, but let's do that one again. No, let's just leave it. It's going to be a little off. We'll go back after. That one's totally off, but it'll still look good. It's hard a little bit to practice. You need to have a decent mouse, and I, in fact, do not. So that's kind of the defining moment here. So these ones, we're going to extend them a little bit more than we did on the first one when we added this detail. Because we're using a plain fabric, and I think it'll look a little bit better with a little more detail, but you guys can let me know. And make sure you tuck them in behind. We're going to branch them and move them, so we want them all kind of tucked in behind the white. So there we go, a little bit curvy there. That's okay though. That is okay. And I want some of these veins going on. So just practice. Freehand tool, it's brilliant whether you use a mouse or a tablet. And this picture is brilliant practice. You could just sit and practice on these, veins, and just simply practice. Get the use of, better use controlling your mouse, better use controlling your pen and tablet, and it looks great. I think I'll do this one out, and I think I'll do this one. I'm getting all curvy. My hand's getting tired, I guess. Woo, take a break, and do it like that, and hit enter, and select, and there they all are. Did we get them the right color? I think they went black, which might not look too bad, but I don't know. Let's try it. Do this. And then again, we're going to go back to this brilliant tool, branching, and you click on it and you're waiting for Hatch, but Hatch is actually waiting for you. So click where you want it to start and click where you want it to stop. And there, boom, it is done. So let's take a look and see how we're doing here, because now we got some details going on, right? And let's, I wanted to unhide all. And that's looking pretty good. Let's step back a little bit, but see how you can make a simple applique and make it a little bit more. You don't even need that center part. I don't know, I guess you could make it even an oval and it would look good. Do that whole shape in an oval. Maybe. You can play around with it. Not sure if you need it or not. I love how these all branched so perfectly. So that's the third applique. So we did a simple applique. We did a simple applique with fancy background. And now I can show you. Then we did an applique with just a really cool center done with the freehand tool. And then we added all these details over. Make sure everything's in the right order because we want this to stitch over the material. But let's see how this would look with the fancier material. And then you can see what I mean about it, that if you're using a fancy material, you don't want... Let's use that one. That was actually a bit dark. We can try it a bit lighter. Oh, brilliant fabrics. You could see it doesn't quite have the same effect. You can see it even if we zoom back. You can see everything and it looks pretty cool, but to me it just looks too busy. I think if you have busy material, then keep it simple, and the appliques tend to look great like that. So let's switch back to the factory. Maybe we can try another plain one. Chiffon, corduroy, crepe, denim, fleecy. Fleecy's nice. And we're going to make it the same purple. And there you have it. Little bit different material, but you can definitely see that the plain material and a little bit of detail work looks way better. Now, do we have this in the right order? We do not. So let's do that. because we want these veiny things to stitch out first and then the white, and then I'm just going to leave the purple center in there because I think it's kind of pretty. So that's a great amount of detail for an applique. So let's gather all this guy up. Let's group him. Let's move him up here. Now remember, we did that how many different ways? So 2. Oh, and I do think it looks good. See how different they are? Simple, a little more fancy with details, and an applique with details. Let's put our number in. And remember, we did it quite a few different ways depending on what kind of material that you're using. So that's number 3. And we're going to put 3 done plain, simple, no 4 ways. I might be off. Move this up here. So again, look how many ideas we're getting out of one simple picture. One simple picture. That's it. Let's make this the blue, just because. There we go. Let's go into our true view. There we go. Now let's do Dawn's. Now let's flip back to number 1, and I'm going to show you the difference the way Dawn saw it. If you look here, he did each of the petals separately, but he cut really closely, and he's detail oriented, as you know, by his red work and black work and stuff like that. And that's how he saw it. He saw all the details. And what he did was each petal separately, and then he put a lot of detail on it, and he did a color blend. So that's what we're going to try now. That's the 4th way. So simple, some detail, applique, done quite a few ways, and then really detail. Now I may not get to finish it, but I'm going to start you off on each petal and see how it goes. So let's go to Digitize, and we are going to, I'm sure he did it with the freehand closed shape, and we're going to try it both ways. So let's do that first. Again, I don't have a pen, but see how easy it is to get pretty darn close. The freehand tool is actually a freaking fantastic way to digitize. And yeah, I like that. That is super easy. You can fill it. So let's fill it. And you see I was a little bit off, but really not that bad, right? Let's try it again. Let's try it again because it is practice. Now, if we're looking at the picture, and remember Dawn picked out all the detail, these are overlapping. So this guy is kind of under, so let's make him look that way. Freehand closed shape, and we're going to start it at about here, and just slowly, carefully follow along with what you're doing, holding down the mouse key and getting all of the detail in, and we want it to go to about like that. And nice little wavies on the end. Let's go back to our select tool. Let's move this guy back to where he was, and that's almost perfect. I think I have it a little bit off, and move him there. That's okay. The imperfections is what makes this flower this way. Freehand tool again, just because I'm really having a ton of fun with it. And see, I'm getting better at it already. Now that I said that, of course, I'll make a big mess or something, but that's okay. Little in there, and right about there. Loving it. See how easy that is to do? Now let's do it the other way. Let's digitize a closed shape, and we're going to end up doing more nodes. But if you're more comfortable with that, then that's how we're going to do it. So 2 different ways even to get all the details. Now if you're looking at this, it's not a perfect curve, and it even goes pretty much straight here. So we are going to pick out that kind of detail. But everyone try using the freehand tool to do this. Just try and see what you think. So those are all right clicks, and then I'm going to left click, and we're going to kind of make it like this and hit enter. See, it's basically the same. We're going to play around with stitch angles and stuff too. So let's digitize another closed shape, and left click, and remember this is the detail-y one, right? So we want the shapes reflected rather than just using it as a guideline. We're going to be really precise with it. And left clicking and right clicking to make the pattern. And we kind of want it to overlap, and we're going to end it right there. And there we go. Let's step back. Let's look at it in true view. I have it on I have it on satin, which is, you know, not bad, but not what I'm looking for. So let's pick all these guys. So I'm going to shift click down, and I'm going to change them all to tatami. And there we go. We have some nice definition. I'm thinking that looks pretty good. And that is with some detail. So let's work on some more detail of it. And let's go here. Let's go to the reshape tool, because I want to change the angles of the stitches on this. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. I always grab the wrong one, and that's okay. No frustration. I want the angles to kind of go across this way. I'm going to put that back. And you can see if I go on true view what a difference that makes. Now this one kind of curves around, and we're gonna do a couple different ways. I'm gonna leave that one actually because it's kind of groovy how it worked out. Let's go to the reshape. We can add stitch angles. That's what it is. Woohoo! There we go. Add a stitch angle. There we go. That changes it. Well, my. It actually, the freehand tool does a great job. I don't use it nearly as much as Dawn does. And I should. I really should. So, because that turned out really well. So we've got some that we're changing the stitch angles. This one has it. So let's change it to here. And it just kind of gives it a different, you know, kind of a different look, that the petals are all, you know, stitching almost independently is the way I see it. And there we go. There we go. So we've got the stitch angles changed. So that's looking pretty good so far. And what else can we do with this? Well, why don't we try some different effects on it? Now, Dawn did color blend, and I thought that was kind of cool. Let's click in on a radio fill, and you can move the center around, but I'm not going to like that, so I'm not going to go. How about a Florentine effect? You know, yeah, you'd have to change it around. I think that might actually look really nice on the petals. You're going to have to play around with it a little bit. Let's go to reshape. And you see the Florentine. I just went on reshape because the way I want the angle is a bit more kind of like this. Kind of. So I think I really like the Florentine effect for that. But see how you do it? You just kind of play around. So I played around with angles. I'm thinking the angles are groovy. Let's play around with Florentine effect. Now I'm not gonna do them all because I think we're probably going a little bit over time, but that's okay. Lots of information, and we want it to go I'm making a mess here. There we go. Grab the right pieces, bend it around. We kind of want it. See how it's turning? Ooh, I kind of like this. I think that's probably close to how I want it. What do you guys think? What a nice effect. So it looks like the flowers are kind of radiating out. Oh, I like that. That's probably how I would do it. Should we do another one? I think you guys are getting the idea of it though, right? So Florentine effect, then all you have to do is change this angle. And this one will work just cleanly, just like that. You just change the angle. See, it didn't like that, so it flipped back. I was making too steep of an angle. Now, it doesn't have to be any more than that. I really think that's kind of cool. So, Florentine effect, if you want heavy duty detail, just like that. Oh, I like that. All right, one more. Fine. We got to finish this, right? One more. Oh, we were going to do another effect. I just got so caught up on Florentine effect. What was I thinking? All right, this one, let's do something different. We're going to take off the underlay and we're going to make it a lighter stitch. You could do, let's see, we could do any one of these. On flowers, I sometimes like a random stitch because if you look underneath this, it's kind of, you know, a blur of colors and it's a color blend and it looks pretty cool. And I think the random stitch kind of, do you see the difference between the two? It kind of adds just a slight a slight effect to it. Now you can change the stitch angles on that because I messed it all around. But I'm just kind of thinking that has a really nice effect. Now we can go to the color blend. So let's try a color blend. Now that one also has Florentine on it. And we want the top layer to be, now what were our colors? It was kind of the purpley we want. And the bottom layer to be, I think it was starting to get into pink, which we don't really have. Oh yeah, darker pink. And we want it to be the top layer, which is the purple. We want it to be maybe this one, but I think probably that one. So the top layer, the purple, is heavier at the bottom than at the top. So this one. Let's try it and see what we think. That with the Florentine effect, I think that's absolutely gorgeous. Can you see how that looks? Now that is the color blend that we see underneath. If you look, except for it's white at the bottom, but we can actually blend in a little bit. But it's kind of, I picked out that pink. It's not quite the same, but I kind of picked that out and went through. So it's still basically purple. It's still basically purple, but it has more of a blend to it. Now this one is too dark. Do you want to try it on this one? Let's do create color blend. We picked the first one, same colors. Let's see. I think that's a beautiful effect. I think that's absolutely gorgeous. Let's hide these guys because we do want to finish up. I'm going to leave the bottom two petals in different colors just because. So I'm going to group these guys and I'm just going to move it over this time because it drives me crazy. Let's take, we're just going to do a quick finish up. Let's go back to Digitize and let's take our freehand close shape because I think it worked very well. And let's do this part and we're going to kind of put that on top and we're going to feather it again. So I'm just quickly doing it. You guys take your time, hold down that mouse key to get your shapes and simply draw. I like that. Very nice. Thank you very much. I want to change that to white and I want to change it to tatami this time. I think ripple. Well, you know, maybe. Might not look the greatest with the solid ones, but I've grouped it all, so let's move it all back. Yeah, that might be okay. It's not in the right place, but you know what? That's okay. What do you guys think of that? And then how about we do just a little circle in the middle? That's way too big, but oh well, I pulled it out. Let's just make that guy smaller. So let's pull him in. So many ideas just from one design. That looks even better like that. Okay, obviously the flower is not going to have that color, but you can see having the detail of the color blend. And you know, if you wanted to sit and draw the veins through there, that's even more detail. That actually looks really pretty with the ripple stitch. So if you wanted to add even more detail, you can see on this one that you can see through and you can see them. These are a bit heavy. You might want to lighten them up, but add more detail and that becomes a flower with a color blend, blending two colors. This will stitch kind of lighter than it looks. And then the veining on it, wow, that'll be heavy duty details. And it will look absolutely, absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic indeed. So that's the flower. That's how we are going to do that. So this is number, oh, I got it. Oh, I thought I only took half of it. I was like, half a flower. No. No, no, no. So artwork, no. Lettering. Why can I never find lettering today? So this is number 4. And we did it we did plain tatami. We did freehand. We did a color blend. And we did Florentine. So how many is that? 5 ways. 5 days? No, 5 ways. So many ideas just from one picture. And that's how you do it. That is exactly how you do it. Just from one picture, you can use that one picture so many different ways. And this guy looks kind of weird because it's not finished. I did one half one way, one half the other, but you guys will know. So from simple yet awesome to detail fancy stitches to plain applique, fancy material applique, to applique with plain background with lots of details, to just pumping up the details and making something absolutely gorgeous. That is how you make embroidery designs from one simple picture that you took with your phone. And that's how to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this class, and I hope you can come up with some really cool ideas and stitch these guys out and use even the plain one in different things that you're doing. This was a great class. Thank you very much. Think outside the box. I cannot wait to see your homework. Thanks for watching, everyone.